Hey, good morning Dobbin family. For those of you that are new here, welcome. Join us and come be part of the family. You can do that by hitting the subscribe button and turning on notifications to all, so that way you guys can find us easier next time and join in on the fun. Know where we post more videos. But you can also follow us on social media. There's a lot of stuff that we post on social media that isn't in the videos here on YouTube. All the links are down in the description, so follow us on all of our social medias. But my name is Jeff Dobbin, and together with my amazing wife Amber, we have 6 great kids, ranging from ages 3.5 up to 22 at this point, and she'll be 23 the middle of this month, so make sure you guys wish her a happy birthday. We make videos for imperfect people, for the sinners out there, because let's face it, we're all imperfect, we're all sinners. There was only one perfect person, there was only one person who walked the face of the earth that was better than anybody else. He was also sinless. He went to the cross for us to die for our sins, so that way we could spend an eternity in heaven with him. But we always like to start our video with a prayer.
Dear Heavenly Father, we dear Mom, thank you for the fortunate. Thank you for doing it. Thank you for the fortunate. Thank you for doing it. Amen.
Amen. All right, guys, I had to share that with you. I may be a little bit biased, but that was like the cutest thing ever. He is so adorable, and that was a great prayer, even for a 3.5-year-old. That was a great prayer for some adults, but he is amazing, and like I said, I might be a little bit biased. But this video is trusting in God's timing. One of the verses I want to share with you guys this morning is Ecclesiastes 3:1. For everything there is a season, and a time for every matter under heaven. Well, this morning I did a little walkthrough around the property. Want to check out the property after a storm that we had last night. Want to make sure that nothing got damaged or anything. Well, the first thing I want to share with you guys is a little tidbit from the Dobbin family to you. If you have bird feeders on your property, make sure that you guys interact with them quite often. We had bird feeders up from last season, and we haven't put any bird food in this spring. They were on the porch here, and every time the birds would eat, they'd make a huge mess all over the porch and have to sweep it off. So we're going to get some shepherd's hook for the landscaping here, and we're going to put them out there so that way they don't make a mess. But the one thing I'm a little concerned about is birdseed does not grow birds. It grows weeds. So we're going to have to deal with that too. But the reason why I say this to you, and I digress, I'm sorry, is because I saw a wasp and I watched it fly right up into the bird feeder, and unfortunately it had started building a nest in the bird feeder. So guys, a little tidbit from the Dobbin family to you guys. Make sure that you interact with your bird feeders quite often so you don't get wasps. Amber being allergic to wasps, allergic to bee stings, we can't have that around here. So we got rid of that. But the other thing tidbit I want to share with you guys is, again, the trust in God's timing. The Japanese maple that you're looking at, the red tree there, was one of the trees that first drew me to this property when I came here to take a look at it with a realtor. It's such a beautiful tree. It's a beautiful red hue. The leaves on it, structure on it is really cool. It's unlike any other tree that I've really noticed in the area. But when that thing started blooming out this spring, or not really blooming out, budding out this spring, I got really excited. I love that tree. I was so excited to see what it would look like again this year, and it just really excited me. I can't say that enough. I took a look at the ash trees, and they're getting about halfway there. Unfortunately, the ashes up in front of our house have emerald ash borer, and we're going to eventually have to cut them down. We know that. We know that it's coming. But for right now, they're okay. So we're just going to leave them. But the tree that really kind of concerned me was this tree here, the tree that I'm showing you right now. It's a cypress tree in our backyard. And if I'm misidentifying this tree, I apologize. I'm not terribly familiar with this tree, but I'm pretty sure it's a cypress. Again, if I'm misidentifying it, let me know in the comments below. But when everything else was blooming around it, the maples, the ashes, the Japanese maple, the sycamore trees, everything else was blooming out around us, this tree wasn't blooming, and I got a little upset. I got to thinking to myself, I remembered from when we would take walks last year in the fall. I would look across the pond and I would see that beautiful tree in our backyard. It was even part of our wedding. If you guys haven't seen our wedding video, there's a link above right now where you can check that out. But it was part of our wedding pictures, And I really kind of got upset because it wasn't blooming out already. And I thought, oh no, we lost the tree. We're going to have to cut it down. I hope I didn't do anything wrong. I hope I wasn't supposed to fertilize it. I hope I wasn't supposed to spray it. I hope I wasn't supposed to do this or that. That wound up killing this tree off. But as you guys look at the picture, you notice that it is starting to bud out. And unfortunately, I didn't trust in God's timing. For everything that's going on in the world right now, we have to trust in God's timing. You know, God's timing kind of makes me think of this whole situation that's going on right now with the quarantine. I know that Illinois has extended its quarantine till the end of May. Indiana has extended its quarantine till May 15th. And even that's not a hard stop, unfortunately. We don't know when this thing is going to end. We don't know when, you know, the government's going to allow us to go out and go to church. We don't know when the government's going to allow us to go to restaurants. Unfortunately for some of us, we don't know when we're going to be allowed to go back to work, when we're going to allow to open up our businesses, you know, when work's going to call us back. I mean, even if your work opens and you've been furloughed or you've been laid off, your work may not call you back right away, you know. And I understand that this is kind of hard coming from a person who's essential. I say that with quotation marks because unfortunately I'm deemed essential, and I know some other people who I work with and some other people in my family who are deemed essential. Well, the only thing that's really essential, guys, is God and Jesus and the Bible. Those are the only things that are really essential. But one of the things that's essential right now is following and allowing God's timing, because God's timing is perfect. Like the Japanese maple up front bloomed out at its perfect time. The cypress in our backyard over here is blooming out in its perfect time. The corn will grow in its perfect time. The beans will grow in its perfect time. The cotton for our clothing will grow in its perfect time. Your children will grow in their perfect time. God has a perfect timing for everything, and we have to trust in that. I remember one time where I was laying in the hospital due to complications from leukemia. I had a back issue after I had gotten out of the hospital. I was told by the nurse, now take it easy. I wouldn't necessarily go back to work. I'm not going to tell you not to go back to work, but I wouldn't necessarily go back to work. And she knew that I was very hard-headed. She knew that I was very thick-headed, and she knew that I was going to go back to work because I kept telling her over and over and over again that I wanted to go back to work. Well, she released me. I went back to work. I was working at a large warehouse, and again, I had just gotten out of the hospital. I needed to get up to a box that was up on the wall, up high. Well, I need an extension ladder to do that. The only extension ladder that I had was a 28-foot extension ladder, and for those of you that have hauled one of those around by yourself, it's pretty heavy. Well, I carried it in, I carried it through both double doors and put it up on the wall and did what I had to do. And as I'm driving home from work that day, my back really started hurting. Really started hurting. Well, bottom line, I wound up back in the hospital. And I called up my dispatcher at the time and I told her what happened, and she said, well, I told you, take some time off. Maybe now you'll take some time off. And I did. I wound up staying in the hospital, and I kept, telling her that, kept telling the nurse again that I wanted to get out of the hospital. I want to get out of the hospital. I want to go back to work. I want to get out of the hospital. I want to go back to work. But again, you guys, I pretty much forced the nurse to let me go the first time, which wound up putting me back in the hospital the second time. We have to trust in God's timing. We can't force things. We can't force relationships to go faster than what God intended them to go, because that will cause problems. We can't force our kids to grow up faster than they're supposed to, because that will cause problems. We can't force the quarantine to end faster than what we're supposed to, or that will wind up causing problems too. I think of the Spanish flu of 1918, where they ended it early. They ended the quarantine early, and that wound up causing hundreds of thousands of more people to become infected with the Spanish flu. So we don't want to repeat history, guys. We want to trust in God's timing. Let God make these decisions for us. We're only mere mortals. Let's let Him make these decisions for us. Let's let Him guide us. Like I said in the last video, follow the Bible, not social media. Follow the Bible, trust in God's decisions, trust in God's Word, and let that be your guide. I understand right now it may be difficult for you, but pray. Pray to God. He will give you the answers that you need. He will give you the solutions to your problems. Don't rush things. Trust in God's timing. Appreciate you guys watching the video. Pray for you guys every night, every day. Hope that your day is going well. Love you, and God bless.